before we get into this evening's live, and I really don't know what to expect here with how it's going to put it in the settings, because I was trying to see if it would set it up with the camera the other way, just out of curiosity. And it wouldn't, I mean, it said it did, but then when it was showing the preview, I could obviously tell that it did not. So now I am hoping, and I think it put it in horizontal. Yeah, it did. Good, good, good. This is a great sign to start this live, because for the last three, it would not let me do this anyhow. But yeah, so that is good news. That is good news. So Jan, welcome in, love, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 years with the XRP 589 Moon, or the XRP Diamond Hands badge. Louis, welcome in. Shane, I seen you up at the top. Welcome in. Kyle, good evening. Not going up anytime soon. We'll see. But, you know, it's, this is not ideal, my friends. This would not be ideal. George, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XP Predictor. Daytona, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your 2nd month with the Dusty.House Crypto News. Wales, Josie Wales, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Keith Morgan, good evening, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 months now, along with the fine group with the XRP Meteor. Pop Wheelie's been in Tom's Army for 6+ months with the XP Predictor. So we have the old format when I do my updates, and now on the lives it'll be in this format. One, this is all it offers me anyhow, because I'm doing I would like to show my screen, but it won't even give me the other option. It acted like it did, but it didn't. But two, I think it's cool. So in the lives, we'll have this setting. I'll be able to see you. You'll see me more directly like this. We'll be able to talk right off my screen. And then when I do the updates in the morning outside of lives, when I do an update outside of the shorts, you'll be able to see when I do the on the screen. So I would love in my live to be able to talk to you guys about the updates I've been doing in the morning now, and the style I've been using, if it hits home. I know I've got a lot of positive reviews, some negative, but mostly positive. But I'm open for to hear. CJ2 Pilot, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for 1+ year with the I Told You So badge. Love it. Thank you all so much for the support. Like, seriously, it means a lot. That support allows me to keep grinding day by day by day. You liked how I was doing the waves too. I love it. Love it. But yeah, no, yeah. That's the technique will stay the same even like this. I can show you, I can still show the waves and the what I consider the supply, the demand, and the distribution centers as well. But I mean, as far as like the how I had it on my screen, you know, how you guys were able to see it. I mirrored my TV. But anyhow, it does feel good to be back to a live. Friday we had a small live. Yesterday I couldn't do it. I had a funeral. I had to go to a funeral, like the showing and stuff. Today I was there until about 5, 4, something like that. Then I went back to my grandpa's with my mom, and then she came here. But she just left a little while ago, so I said, I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to do it like this. This is good. Let's see. How about that ZBAC? Yeah, I seen ZBAC is over 2 now. That's a big level. Trying to put in that inverse head and shoulders. We've had this drawn out for a while. It takes time. And now that it did this, now if it does what it should, because this is how we had drawn it out, and it had to come back down and around. But we drew this out when this pattern was still back here. So it had a long ways to go. It really did have a long ways to go. But now it's going to come down to, once it holds over these levels, so that 2-0 is a big level, it's going to have to come down and start forming the consolidation base. Now, what you want to make sure of now is we don't create a double top, or in this case, almost like a triple top, and then come back down. But it seems like, at least for now, it broke bullish instead of bearish out of that bearish, what could have been pennant. And that's why we were saying it would have to form this inverse head and shoulders. Well, I mean, you would have to be here before. But yeah, it looks like it's forming this pattern. So if it does, it's going to be very successful. Now, we have no way of knowing until it happens whether or not this breaks down or keeps going. But, you know, we'll just have to watch it. We'll have to watch it. It's a great sign being over where it's at, getting closer to the end of the weekly candle for sure. Like we've seen Quant now, it's up over $90, coming up to the top of that resistance level. So it's acting like it should. These are all acting like they should now. I put out an alert with Quant a little while ago to watch Quant. I mean, it's starting to act. CJ2 Pilot, thank you so much for the $4.99 donation. Says, just because Tom spends so... Oh, I need to see what that says. So much time for us. Hey, I appreciate it. Hey, that pay it forward mentality helps me do what I do. It helps me grind. You know? Like they say, your time is always worth something. And when people show you support, it definitely makes it more motivating. The Gatman, thank you so much for being in Tom's Army for over 3 years now, or 2 years now with the XRP 589 Moon Badge. XRP Healthcare was holding pretty strong. It's just, we're in this long, drawn-out consolidation. And, I mean, this could take a while or it could take no time. We'll look at both sides of it. John, thanks for being in Tom's Army for several years as well, my friend. It popped up so fast, but I seen John London. Thank you so much, my friend, for being a very long-standing member of Tom's Army. It means a lot to me. John Patak, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 2 years with the XRP 589 Moon Badge. Thanks for keeping it real. The legend. Oh, I love it. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Rick, thank you so much for being a very trusted mod. I really appreciate that. Rick keeps it real. Rick makes sure that, you know, we got to be on our best behavior for Rick. Otherwise, you know, things get ugly. And then if things get ugly, we just blame Rick. That's why he's here. So if you get banned, it's Rick's fault. No, Rick, honestly, I appreciate it. Seriously. Let's see. Oh, yeah, Keith was here earlier. That's what I remember. Keith. Let's see. One comment I missed. Oh, yeah, John said, thanks for keeping me real. The fundamental influencers have me $1 trillion. I know. Me too. If I didn't know any better, I thought, like, every time I took a breath, you know, $1,000 bills would be coming out based on the investment advice that I've been given. Not that I've been giving, because we can't even, you know, we got to keep it real. They're only dollar bills, and you know, in some cases they're a little bit higher, depending on how committed. The Fine Group, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for 3+ months with the XP Meteor. Trial by fire, good evening, my friend. Melomania, these falling wedges need to break out, or need to hurry up. Yes, indeed they do. Irachi, good evening. You're not late. I'm just saying hi to everybody, my friend. I'm just saying hi to everybody. Just saying hi to everybody. And thank you for being in Tom's Army for several months as well. Like, what a great group. What a great group of people we have here. You know, great group. Look at that. John Patak, thank you so much for the $9.99 donation. Not good enough that he's in Tom's Army, in his mind, for over 2 years with the XRP 589 Moon Badge. But he has to send a $9.99 donation out of the bottom of his damn fine heart. And that's some hard-earned money, too. I never take that lightly. So with that being said, we're going to do the intro. And then we're going to talk about why this is urgent. And because I got sent those generous donations, I better hurry up. I'm on the clock. Good evening. 7:24 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Sunday, May 4th, 2025. Day before my mom's 63rd birthday. No joke. I'm XRP Future Millionaire. And I reside in the great state of Michigan. What a day. And XRP's holding on the whole day. And XRP says I'm going to close the weekly above 217. And XRP's tightening along at 223. And XRP looked at the clock and said, uh-oh, I better hurry up. It's time for me to drop real quick down this weekly on a bad note. And then we find ourselves here at $2.15, where, in fact, we don't know if it's a bad note. We just see the weekly ending to where if it starts now, I can tell you right now, it's going to be interesting, to say the least. Like, it's going to be interesting. This is the candle that closed that tells me, Tom, you know, you smell that? I don't want to smell it. No, Tom, you smell it, but I don't want to smell it because then people will get mad. That's the under $2 smell. And, you know, that close that we're heading towards is starting to signal towards the $2 close is all I like to call it. That gives you all the evidence you need if it happens. Because you got to retest these 200 days and such. But I also appreciated some in the messages that were sent about Tom doesn't need to go to the gun show. You guys got to see. It tickled me every time I seen those comments. I loved it. And if you don't know what the guns are, you have to look at the video, you know. they're talking about these cannons, but I loved it. But somebody's like, you have a tattoo? I'm like, I do have a tattoo. Never knew that. I never said it, I don't think. But it tickles me. It made me feel good. All the comments. But anyhow, yeah, there is an inverse head and shoulders there for sure. For sure. The only question is, remember this pesky little guy, my friends? Remember this pesky little scenario? Well, I'm not worried about this scenario now because we already bounced up too high. What I'm worried about is this scenario. I'm worried about this. Because we've established now. All right, fine. Let's take it back a step real quick. Let's look at this chart real quick. I'm getting excited. You can't blame me. And you know, for some regards, I really like being able to point at the TV with the big screen, being like, all right, guys, this is what the fuck I'm talking about. Wasn't that kind of nice? The amount of people that called me Professor Tom was nice. But I could definitely see myself as a professor. Just, I mean, let's be honest, you know, it doesn't suit me to be inside of like a college, but I'm my own professor. I'll bet you if somebody logged on and said, I don't even know how many people follow me anymore. My goal was to get to 10,000. You know, people would be like, I don't know why. Oh, 35,900 people follow this guy. There's no way. You know. But I love the big screen too. I really did. But we'll be doing that in the mornings on my actual updates. My actual updates, I'll still be doing the big screen, I promise. I think it passed the beta test. It's got overwhelming response. And that's what I'm going to do for the updates. And it literally is mirroring off of one of my older tablet. And I use this tablet because it's got the best visual in my opinion. But yeah, we'll still be doing it like that. But right now in the daily time frame, we've got XRP. And you know, if we fall a little bit farther, it might have to go down to the 200 here. I'm going to go make sure my son's good real quick. Just real quick. I'm just going to go make sure he's good. You okay, buddy? Come here. Yeah, I'm still talking with you, okay?
Yeah, he just said XRP.
You come over there right now, girl. He's okay. He's okay. Yeah.
Daddy's saying XRP. Daddy will be down in the middle bit.
But if we do continue to fall in this kind of a fashion, XRP would probably, and the way it's starting to lean towards us, it's what we've been talking about for a few days. Coming down here to like $2.05. And then probably after the test at 200 day. And that would be the first area. So that would bring us back down towards that $2 level. Yeah, he's sitting out here. So you're going to hear the music and stuff he's listening to in the background. Tropical music. But the thing is like when I'm looking at this, remember how we talked about we have the supply, the demand, and for anybody who doesn't know, I'll go over this very quickly. Tommy Jr. is doing pretty good, defined. He's doing good. He's doing as good as, I think he's doing as good as he could possibly be doing. He's been very positive in his, like, therapies, because he goes to occupational therapy and speech. But he's been real good in them. He's been making a lot of improvements. His physical therapy kind of, like, graduated out of it until he gets a little bit bigger when he can do more stuff. He overachieved. So he didn't have anything else for him to do. And then he's been doing great in school. He got approved to go into like the next level with kindergarten with an IEP. So you have people helping out, but a lot of his classmates unfortunately weren't able to move on. They just, well, you understand with special needs kids. So fortunately, Tommy learned enough here and they felt comfortable with moving him on to kindergarten, which is a blessing. So it'll, you need to get a clip-on microphone for your big screen videos. That's not a bad idea. I have, I could actually, what would I have next to me? Well, it depends how I would do it. It would depend. It's not as simple as it seems because I'm mirroring it from one to the other. So to try to put a headphone on, it won't let me use the Bluetooth from one to the other if I do it through the mirroring. So it's going to make it difficult. That's the only issue, but it's not a bad idea. So if we look at this, so we'll go back here. I'll keep it in the weekly so it's easier, but I'll go back to the first area. And then we can just kind of talk it out. So this would be the first supply box, and that's when you've seen the first 5 wave happen. And like everybody's opinion, you know, you're not going to have the same thing as me. Like I do my stuff the way I do it and the way I see it, and that's just the way I do it. You know, there's going to be 100 people doing analysis. There's going to be 100 different analyses. It's just going to matter, is the person's fundamentals leading them into profits? Is it leading them to understand the actual charts? Or are they seeing it completely wrong? Unfortunately, I think we've been seeing it right. And now we're retroactively now making sure that these all fit and see how we got into the current 5 wave and what the other 4 waves and what I deem supply, distribution, demand. That's just the way I see it. Doesn't mean somebody else has to see it that way. This is because we could lower this box here and we could absolutely say, oh, well, the supply zone is actually way down here. But it did reach here a few times. And then once it broke out of it from here, I felt comfortable being like, oh, here's the next level. And then it came down into these zones. Yeah, it came way down here, but most of the supply was filled in here. So anyhow, so now when we go into here, all you need to see here now or understand when we're talking about this would be, so supply 1, supply 2, and I should probably write this out, supply 3, demand is all the way across, and distribution is all the way across. Now, what I could do is I could have said, oh, well, supply here and here is the same, but I don't believe it is because I believe the support was higher. So I think it's its own set of supply. So I think you have to elevate it a little bit. But that's just my own way I'm looking at it. So now when we do it, so we came out of here, we came through, and once we got to the first distribution center, that's where I consider, hey, we're either going to buy or sell. Now, when you look at distribution, supply, and demand, it's not going to line up 100% with mine because I do it a little bit different. You know, I only prescribe by my own theory because I taught myself, so it fits what I need it to fit, and it's worked for me for a number of years and a bunch of assets. And, you know, as I refine my understanding, it helps even more. So all these people were like, ooh, after all this time, we found ourselves here. And I think we're still fine. And if they understood Elliott wave, they'd be like, oh, we're just starting out a fresh wave. Like, oh, we're starting out a fresh wave. Like, this is the big start. And now it happens. And even though this would probably contradict the law, it's just kind of the way it moved. You could even say it moved in like 3 and then cracked or whatever. But anyhow, it got up in here and everybody's gets up here and nope, too expensive. They dump back out. And even when it came back into like the distribution area, it was just all sells because nobody was interested anymore. They'd already taken the peak. So then it came back down here and created a new supply zone. And it did it for quite some time. Bounced out, back into the distribution center. The first time in here, there was a lot of buyers. A lot of buyers. So it shot out. Here everybody's like, no. I think we're early or late, but I don't trust it right now. And they just turned into sellers. There wasn't much buyers. Came back down here through another supply zone. Came back up through distribution, and they're like, oh, yeah, this is the time. They shot up real fast, and then again in demand, it was too early. It was too early. There was just an overpouring of sellers because a lot of people got stuck from the old time when they were in 2017 at the end of that, and they've been stuck here at $3.40 for, 7 years, and they were finally like, oh, my God, I got a way out. Thank you, Jesus. So you are kin to David Schwartz. Love your show. Oh, I know. That's the number one thing I hear. I took my hair down earlier when my mom was here and showed her. And she said I was freaking her out because she said it felt like she had 2 daughters. My hair is so long. It's insane. In July, it'll be 2 years since I've cut it, believe it or not. But anyhow. So now that we finally got through here, we're back testing now the supply zone. So this is the first time in its history as well that we ever came back through here and didn't come all the way back through a whole scale back to supply. Like we didn't have to resupply. We just kind of had to find more distribution and the buyers were there again. My fear, and I pulled it out here, is if we do like past cycles, it's been about 3.5 years on average, those patterns. In my view, and I break all the laws, in my view, that fourth wave, on average, is taking like 3.5 years. So if you pull this out to 3.5 years, you're going to be talking somewhere like April 28th, but maybe it does do something like this, and it's a little shorter. Or if you want to say, okay, it's quicker, but it just seems so quick. It just seems quick.
And no bite.
It really does to me. It seems quick. It seems like it would have to at least do this. Maybe it bounces back on top of that old zone, but it seems quick. So that's like, if you didn't see this, that's just the way that I've been lining this up, and it makes a lot of sense to me. Because every time it's either held onto that area and made a parabolic run, or it failed through that area, or it failed once it got in the mids, in the mid zone. One time it got through the mid zone in like 22, and it just didn't have enough steam to even get back up into that top echelon of that distribution, so it didn't even get a chance. It sold off before it got there. But those are my centers, and it helps me to kind of not just articulate it, but it helps me to, in my mind, separate like what thinkers or the buyers or like the traders might be thinking. If you get past that demand zone, we are in full-blown discovery, and it's going to be something like we've never seen. It's going to be unbelievable. So, no, but in no way am I saying it's going to take until fucking April of 28 before this next big breakout, and from what level, who knows. But what I am saying, if you take the average, that's what I'm saying. If you take the average, it puts you in the mid 2028. Second or third quarter. If it doesn't and it goes quicker, well, history doesn't always repeat itself the same, but it resonates. So right now we're resonating on a corrective wave right now before our next, should be our third big breakout in the history of this chart. No, the fourth big breakout on the history of this chart. No. We haven't definitely lost. That's where we're getting into that. We definitely haven't lost 217 yet. But what you don't want to do is start closing the weekly under it. It'll already be a daily under it. But now the weekly, if it closes here, and like that to me is an engulfing to the downside on the day. Not just engulfing, but that's straight down on the daily. There's essentially, by the end of this, there is no... So this is going to be an engulfing daily if it closes here, which is going to trigger it to try to come down here. That's all I'm saying. We don't want... And we already had, and this was something I was showing this morning, we already had the 50-day cross the 100-day, which is the first step of a short-term pattern flip back around. So it's like, you've got to stay on this, so on top of this, and you've got to be so like crazy watching this, because yeah, this might be an inverse head and shoulders, but it looks like it wants to come back down here, even if it is an inverse head and shoulders, and try to line up with that other side over here. I mean, it's so freaking ridiculous the way you start to look at this if you do it day after day and see like, oh, it's a trading algorithm. So if one side is one way, the other side's got to mimic it. It doesn't have to look exactly the same, because one's coming up and one's going down, or one's coming from the down to up, one's coming from bearish to bullish or bullish. So it's never going to look exactly the same, but think of it as a computer code watch. So if you think of this as a computer code, I think it makes it a lot easier. So if it's doing some kind of inverse, so it's going to mimic this in some way, then it's going to pull up and and it's just going to decide what it's going to do, but it's going to have to mimic this in some way over here. And then if it doesn't, it doesn't. But then you start to look at it, and then if it doesn't hold here, then it'll go and you start to watch this, and you're like, well, this is becoming pretty fucking predictable. This is starting to piss me off. Then you start doing it again for 4 years, and you're like, well, this is some bullshit, because every time I get excited, I get mad, and every time I get mad, I get excited. So that's why I always tell everybody, if you get a 50% dump on something in one day, don't sell the dump. You're going to get a retracement back up. It was a perfect example with MXC. MXC dumped 50% in one night, and then it gained it all back except for 3%. And then it proceeded to dump another 20% or so above that 50% loss, or whatever it was, or 15%. So my point is, if you ever see your asset do this, and we've all been there, and you're like, oh my God, I'm selling this. This is horrible. Oh, I knew it. I'm a genius. I sold it. What the fuck? You ever see that? That's because you get the guys who already were in, they sell out, you get the new buyers, it comes down, then these new buyers sell, they get scared. These guys are laughing because they got out here, then it bounced up, and then everybody's like, oh my God, we're fucking idiots. They buy it back, And then it just dumps on everybody and goes to new lows, because that is the stabilizer candle. That's the stabilizer. That, when you go through the FVGs, is where you're going to end up tapping that resistance, or the bearish drop, and confirming it when you don't break past it. Maybe it only comes up to here, you know, but you get the picture. And that always happens to people. And that's why you're always like, well, when I buy it, it goes down. And when I sell it, it goes up. And then when I ultimately buy it and I just say the hell with it, I'm going to hold it, it just doesn't stop dropping. Well, you got caught in that cycle. Or when somebody says, I sold it, but then it went up. And then when I bought it back, it went down. And then when I say, yeah, it's the same thing. It's awesome. That's why when you do technical analysis, people are like, so it's going up and down. Oh, if it was only stat easy, Sherlock Holmes. If it was only stat easy, Inspector Gadget. I wish I was as smart as you, Indiana Jones. It's like, come on now, don't be so stupid. It's going up or down. If it was only that simple. If it was only that simple. Man, oh man, if it was only that simple. Could you imagine? It's like Curious George out here, but they won't fucking figure it out because, oh, could you imagine that? Like, we were growing up with, I don't know what all these stupid books are coming back to me, like, but Curious George. Imagine if he wasn't so curious. He just said, oh, that's just the way it happens. It's either going to be on the ground or it's not, or this guy's bad or he's good. Fuck it. Well, you just summed it up. You can either be good or bad. The chart can either go up and down or sideways. You know, but it's just like you're watching if you like baseball, you're watching a game. Well, the guy's either going to strike out or he's going to hit it or he's going to walk or he's going to get hit. So he's either going to, you know, it's the same thing with anything in life. I'm going to walk outside. I'm either going to walk, I'm going to run, I'm going to sit on the couch. What? I'm going to stand up or sit down. You know, we've only got so many options, but it's how we get there is the beauty. Like, think about it. It's the journey of these charts. Like, don't you guys feel somewhat good to know, like, while everybody was sitting thinking like we're just going to go up unabated, we sat here the whole weekend and we're like, well, you know, that 205 is looking pretty juicy right now. But while everybody's thinking it was going down here, we're like, you know, that 239 is looking pretty good, or 230 when it kept having to come back up here. But knowing that even if it's an inverse head and shoulder, well, you know, we probably would have to test this uptrend, then come back. But then if it breaks down, you know, then we might have to. So it's like, if it was just so easy that it's just a matter of, hey, we're coming up or we're going down. But, you know, so, oh my God, Define Group. For anybody who doesn't use Bitunix, I think people just think I push that because I get paid by it or something, but I'm not sponsored by them in any way. So, like, when I talk about it, it's because I started using it in 2023 late. I tested it for a couple months. I'm like, what the fuck? Excuse my, I'm like, are you kidding me? Because I was caught on Uphold with their fees and like a few others. And I had MACA, which was awesome, but it wasn't to this level. And then they outlawed the USA. And then when I found Bitunix, I'm like, well, how is this possible? Like, I understood that it was not a one that you send or receive from a bank account. So you send asset to asset from another exchange. And they have you're able to use it in the USA. It's legal. They have a license, a paper from the USA. And you don't have to do a VPN or KYC. But when you're trading, like if I trade $10,000 and I sell out $10,000 worth of XRP, I get $10,000 basically worth of XRP. If I make a profit and it turns into 13,000, I'm getting like 12,995. If I did that on Uphold, I'm getting like a $1,500 deduction on fees. If I do it on crypto.com, it's the same shit. So what I started doing is I send all of my stuff from Bitunix to another exchange / wallet if I want to. If I'm swing trading, it only happens on Bitunix. If I'm leverage trading, I'll do it on Bitunix. Like, I like HOTCOIN, but it does have its level of like, you know, I kind of feel like something's going on. But if I'm being honest, HOTCOIN's customer service. So in that regard, it's respectable. But in the other regard, it is have more fees on leverage, especially. Spot is fucking great. But leverage is a little out there. But I mean, I'm not discouraging it, especially after the customer service, the way that I bombarded them the last few months. They've been great. It almost makes me change my whole opinion. Like, I just don't like the way their futures is sometimes. But Spot, I've never had a problem. Anyway, Bitunix, and HOTCOIN's in the description as well. But Bitunix, I feel like we're like cheating. Like, when I sell, there's literally no fees. And I love it. You know, I really love it. And like, I prefer spot over leverage, but even when you're leverage trading, you're talking about, I've opened up, it was a $1,500 10X, and I was curious about it. It charged me $2.70. $2.70 to open it. When I closed it, it was like another $2. So you're telling me $5 to borrow 10X on 1,500? That's 15 grand. So you're basically getting margin of 13,500 for $5 to $10 on a buy-in. So that's crazy. And you know, some cases, if it's high volatility and things like that, it might go higher. But like, I know there's been a lot of people that are like, I can't believe this. And it's like, that's why I've been talking about it for like 2 years, or since early 2014 or 24, because I felt like an idiot. I got hit with so many fees on different exchanges. So now I just buy it there and I'll send it to the other exchange. And then when I'm ready to sell it, I'll just send it off the exchange and send it back to Bitunix. That's how all I have to do now. It's fucking beautiful. And because there's no KYC, I can kind of trade in secrecy. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I didn't say that. Oh, their security is second to none. Their customer service is second to none. It's literally the best exchange I've ever been on. Hands down. Now, I don't know how withdrawals work to a bank account because they don't have that feature, because they're they decided to do things different. They said they're going to be like the intermediate person. So you're not going to deposit money through us or withdraw it from us, but you can trade your funds with us. And they've got so much money on deck, it's crazy. But you can withdraw and deposit. Like, I've never had a problem. Never had an issue withdrawing. I've never had any kind of issue. That's the thing. Like, I've been using them for so long. And the only issue I had, I can't even remember what it was now in 24, but I did it publicly, and like within 12 hours it was fixed. I don't even remember what it was. But yeah, that's game changing. I tell everybody that's a game changing platform, because I was getting charged up the ass with fees, with Uphold. Even Kraken had pretty interesting fees the way they did it. And then obviously I like crypto.com for DGB. But then again, I found an alternative for DGB. LBank, I can buy DGB. Now, but the fees on LBank are negligible at best, because I could argue that they're just as bad as crypto.com at some points, depending on volatility. So sometimes it doesn't really help. Bitunix fucking helps. They just don't have if they had DGB, I'd be set. I've been begging them to get DGB. You gotta wait for it to wait for what? XRP Future Millionaire, damn it, I want it DGB. Because I'm XRP Future Millionaire with the side bet on XM Future Digibyte OG. You know, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. They should listen to me. I know a thing or two. Yeah, oh yeah, they definitely, their security is so, it's past every kind of, it's past some big tests, let's just put it that way. They are not the little guy. It's pinned here as well in the comments. And if you're a customer service person, this is second to freaking none. Like, how quickly they responded to me the first time, I actually couldn't believe it. It's actually the same way on HOTCOIN. Now, I don't know what they did the last year. It used to be kind of shit. But I literally, I don't know what happened the last like 2 or 3 months, but I didn't even want to say anything, but their customer service stuff that I even told Julie, like, I can't, I'm actually comfortable sending some funds back there. Especially because they have XDC and stuff. But their customer service the last like 2 months has been spot on. You know, literally, I'm actually surprised. Like, it perplexes me. You know, when exchanges improve a little bit, it's kind of weird. Anyhow, even working towards it is amazing. Papa's sure if that has been completed yet, but they are in progress. Yeah, they were advanced. Yeah, there's a lot of upgrades going on there too. But anyhow, you guys talk amongst. I just wanted to validate what was being said, because I've had that same experience, and it's like I told everybody, when you start to realize you can trade without fees, like literally no fees. Like when I talk, it still blows my freaking mind. It blows my mind. It really does. Like, for one split moment, we had BitGet, if anybody remembers, and theirs was basically no fees. Leverage, there was a little fees, but for spot, it changed our life, and then they fucking banned USA, just like Mexi, those cocksuckers. But we've had glimpses. Bitunix, the only thing I hold solace to them and why I'm staying loyal, and if you have no reason to be loyal to anybody, Bitunix, in the time of the lawsuit, they did not get rid. They did not get rid of XRP during the whole lawsuit. So going back to 24 or 21, I could have bought it on Bitunix and not lost that freaking... You guys remember the story? I sold out of XRP 10,000, or what did I have? 7,800 and something tokens. I sold it. When I sold it, I'm thinking I'm fucking, oh my God. You know, oh my God, I got like $13,000, $14,000 probably sitting here. Maybe not that much. Close. It was close. And when I sold it, all of a sudden, it was $1,000 less, and my heart sank. Literally sank. I told this story when it happened. Uphold charged me over $1,000 for that sale. And I was, you know, I didn't have like as much money as I do now because I've had some good cycles in crypto now to where it's literally changed my whole fundamental dynamics. Not just that, but my gold and silver investments paid out the ass now. And my mining stocks have paid me, allowed me to flip a zero in their own right. Because my investments in mining stocks were only like 5,000. Now they're worth about just over 30, which is weird. So like it still blows my mind, some of these things. But it's just I re-roll money and I do things like that. But anyhow, the point is it changed my freaking life, guys. Like, and you don't have to believe me. Just fucking, there's a link there. Download it. Hell, don't even, just download it and look and see. And see the difference. And if you're on an exchange that doesn't allow it, at least if you don't want to use that, try to find one that can do that, is my point. Because they're out there. I spent so much money in fees. It makes me so mad right now to think about it. Especially with what Uphold did to Julie's account. But anyhow, the daily time frame here looks like it's going to end up engulfing to the downside. We're trying to kill 7 more minutes. But this doesn't look pretty, the way this is closing. It doesn't mean it's going to end terribly. It just means the way it's closing is not the prettiest. Not the prettiest, okay? It doesn't mean it's the end of the world. It just means it's it tends to show probably a bottoming zone that we're going to have to test this breakout up back down. Now, we could find a volume spike. We could get lucky, you know, but it's plausible. It can happen. And like, I don't think my stuff is set up. I keep getting people that ask me about, show us on Bitunix, but I don't have it set up on my tablet, I don't think, for security reasons. Yeah, I don't. But there's so much stuff on here. Maybe one day I will. Maybe one day I'll put it back on there, but 6 minutes to go here. 6 minutes to go until the flip. And XRP sitting below $2.16. The XRP Bitcoin pairing's up a pedestrian 1/3 of 1%. But it's still on the bottoming on the weekly. Like, that's the thing. We have a weekly golden cross, but sometimes when you don't have enough strength, even if you're going to hold, you'll come back down here and retest these areas. It just happens. It really does. Or you have to see if you topped. But I don't think we have. I think something big's coming. I really think something big's coming. And my only question is, there's 2 things that I could see happen. Actually, 3. It could either do this and bounce off it here and then go. It could say, nope, too early. Back test the breakout and then fail. Or it backtests the breakout and shoots out. And because it was such a long stay. Ooh, Julie just lit some relaxation. Thank you, Julie. I know what it is. Take the credit. So what? I might have rolled it, Julie, but I gave you credit. The descending consolidation. This could have been a bearish breakdown, but it ended up turning into like a descending wedge almost, descending triangle. These are nice bullish reversals, but it's not often that you will break out and not backtest. That's why it could be early. Now, somebody told me it's a reverse dragon's tail on the XRP chart, and I can't disagree. But we're not going to get into that yet because that's not relevant unless we go down a little bit farther. So basically, do we break up with the golden cross in place? Do we drop the anchor? Or do we back test the pattern breakout and blast off? You tell me. You tell me. Right now it looks like we may need to drop the anchor for a minute. It's okay. We're going fast. We were going fast. So basically, this is the way I look at it. So, ready? This is the way I look at it. Might need to get a new chart. I don't know. I got so many damn charts. I don't know if I could get a new chart. It's like if I had an animation, just think about it. Like XRP's just dicking along, you know. Da-da-da-da-da. You know, like lollygagging around. It finally catches some momentum. It's getting exciting. XRP's like, oh, I'm the shit. You know, da-da-da-da-da. Nobody can stop me. And then you just kind of run out of steam. And you're like, well, what's going on here? Why do I got a sudden pull down? You know, and it's just like eventually you get that. And then you get all the people here that were like, oh my God, I just watched it go up to 340 and now it's back at $1.90. I'm buying the shit out of this. And then they watch it go up and they're like, I'm not selling this. I'm not an idiot. I should have sold it. I'm gonna buy. I should have sold. And then that's how you start to get the stepping. But that's what ends up happening. You know, like you end up getting on these free flights. And the difference is from now back to 21 is that 21 had all that free money and it couldn't even break half. Well, it broke. It couldn't even come up to the $2 level and break it. Yeah, the retesting the weekly doji. I like that. I like that. It could be. For our sake, it better be. It's just that daily's going to be coming in hot. That is one hot daily candle. In 2 minutes, you guys are going to see the engulfing nature of this. I'm warning you right now. If XRP doesn't pull up just a little bit here, we've got a nice spicy, all-encompassing engulfing candle to start the daily, and that is not a sight for pretty eyes. That would be a sight for sore eyes. And you know, we're starting a weekly too, so the fact we're starting in such a bearish momentum is not good. I mean, it's good for, if you want this to be like the past 2 cycles, when we had a massive, this fine gentleman, Scusa, said, XRP used your money, assholes. They sure did. They're a stable coin. Well, they had to use our money for transactional purposes. Well, they didn't use my money. I used their money. If you think of the philosophy, I put in 3,500 plus 5, so 8,500, and XRP's already paid me out X amount of dollars, right? So I'm not mad at XRP. It's paid me over $30,000, and I still have the original investment. So I'm not paying. It's not taking our asshole. It's taking yours, maybe. We're keeping its money. We're trying to keep our money. Keep in mind we are trying to acquire Circle. Indeed, we are. We offered $5 billion. I like how it's us now. It's we. Julie, can I see the ashtray? But we, because we own XRP. We are shareholders. And on a non-shares type holder. We are token holders. You know? So we're trying to push the business in a better way. See, here's what a lot of people forget. I invested in XRP Ripple, not just because of what I think it can make me. That's a part of it. But I personally believe that the World Economic Forum and the International Monetary Fund and the makers of Bitcoin, which was the U.S. government, and the other two, which is the Fed, part of the U.S. government, follow along. I believe they created XRP as the next tier. And because of the players involved, I'm investing in this technology because I don't think that they can ever be taken out of power. Same reason why I have my bank account. Ooh, there's that engulfing candle. It looks ugly. I warned everybody, did I not, Julia, that was going to... That is ugly. If I was to say, that is about as ugly as it could look. That is so ugly. Like, for our sake, we better just hope it turns into a reversal candle. Is that an ugly candle? Like, is anybody else seeing that and saying, ooh, when it flipped? Who else went, ooh? when they seen that flip in real time. I went, oof. I'm just curious. I'm just curious. And this isn't because I'm being mad. This isn't because I think XRP's crap. But the bottom line is I'm investing in XRP because I believe in the, not just the utility, I believe it's here to take over some aspects of this world. It's the liquidity hub, baby, just like I said back in 22. Oh, I'm giving it to it as straight as I possibly can with a little bit of comedic timing. Things that make you go right in the dick. You know? Or you could just say right in the grotesques. I mean, in that daily candle, XRP didn't have the testicular fortitude. You know, it just, sometimes it happens. It had the inverted erection. It became deflated, unfortunately. I've never said it quite like that, but that is true. You know, and it happens. Did I see Mr. Carter in here? Hashtag M2C. Thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 years with the Diamond Hands badge. I have some great news. The 4-year badge, which you already know what it is. It's the Phoenix badge. It'll be the XRP Phoenix badge, as you see. Rising out of the ashes, whatever the hell you want to call it. That's going to be effective. I mean, I became partner 2 weeks after I started. And then it took 4 weeks for them to allow you to put the stuff on your channel after you became partner. So I think we're almost there. I think in June, I'll be able to do it. Now, here's what we're rooting for here. And Mr. Carter, thank you so much, my friend. In the Outback, you imagine a 4-year badge. Bless you.
Thank you.
See, I even did the fill-in for you. Sneeze. Perfect. Let's see. Key fact today. The U.S. Federal Reserve has created a strategic Bitcoin reserve, marking a shift in Bitcoin as a speculative asset to a recognized national store of value. No, it didn't. To even say it's a store of value is idiotic. Hey, Dick, how's your store of value doing? Well, Johnny, it's down 61% the last 2 weeks. Oh, well, that's not a very good store of value. Well, you don't say, but the U.S. government told me to buy it instead of gold. Well, how's gold doing for you, Bill? Well, it's up fucking 41% the last 12 months. Well, what the fuck am I doing in this store of value? These assholes lied to me. Now you could talk to the Kennedys and say, well, John, how'd you guys get all your family wealth? Well, my family didn't turn in their gold when they said it was illegal to own. I mean, it's the same thing throughout all of history. Remember, it doesn't rhyme. I mean, it's not exactly the same, but it surely does rhyme. And this is another part of history where it's surely going to rhyme. I'm just saying. You know how many people are selling their gold and silver to buy Bitcoin? Might as well just cut your nuts off. You might as well just do it. I mean, at some point, if you're going to put it in Bitcoin, this is my argument. Why Bitcoin? And I conclude my argument. No, I'm just kidding. But that should be the argument. Why Bitcoin? Because I shouldn't have to... nobody can ever answer me why. Oh, it's the best thing. It is all of... Bitcoin is crypto. No, it is not crypto. It was just the first. And now it's the most well-known. And it's the most Ponzi-filled. If I told you MicroStrategy and all these other people controlled X amount, people would be like, oh, what the hell is the point of me buying a fractional part of Bitcoin? But David Schwartz is definitely one creator of Bitcoin under an NDA for an... Oh, I firmly believe he had a big part of it. And he works for not our government. I believe he works for the... Let's just call them the centralized part of things. He works in the central location. In a good way. And a bad way. See, I believe, as bad as they always talk about the central, or about the bad people, Sure, they're bad the way they do things, but I honestly believe they want to see the minions that actually figure it out and come along for the ride. I firmly believe that they put enough evidence out here to give us a hint. Like, okay, yeah, your life sucks compared to ours, but you can have 0.0000001%. It's the same thing I told Julie when I started YouTube. I don't need everybody. I don't need the billions of views. I just need 0.0000001%. Define, see? Just by you saying that acknowledges that I've actually done something bigger than I used to. And I'm not going to read your comment about the trolls, but you just saying what you said means a lot because I know what's out there in the comments. But I have honestly, for the last so long, I've not even given it a second thought. It doesn't bother me anymore. I stayed within myself, and now that I stayed within myself, I don't, as long as I'm being honest, it's funner. It's funner this way. I like being this person and not being so, worried about some of the critics. I actually embrace the critics now, so say what you will. I'll still be standing. I mean, now we have to see if we get some kind of strong bounce here, if we can get some buyers here. Because now we have it working against us that we did close the weekly under 217, that we do have an engulfing candle in the daily. But it's not the end of the world. It's just like, look how we hung that. So now we're going to have to do something. Kenny, welcome in. Good evening to you, my friend. And thanks for being in town over 3+ months with the XRP, or the second month with the Dusty's Outhouse Crypto News. Love it. Love it. To think that's 4 years ago now when that badge was created is insanity. Holy moly. Isn't that crazy, Julie? It's been over 4 years. The real question is Bitcoin a store of value? Hell to the no, it's not. You might as well stick my nuts in a vice grip if that's how I'm going to have my store of value. I'm just saying. Now you have Bitcoin, which, think about it. I just, you got the biggest Ponzi scheme. So how can Bitcoin be a store of value when the U.S. government is the largest holder? MicroStrategy is one of the single largest holders. You've got world governments from confiscation purposes, and there's only 25,000 of them. 25 million tokens. But just the whole concept of it is bullshit. You want me to invest in the most expensive and the slowest piece of shit crypto on the planet? Come on, guys. If I told you to invest in something and I pulled up a fucking Rolls Royce and a 3-wheel fucking tricycle, and I said, invest in the better product. Invest in something that the average person who wants to drive a fancy car would buy. You'd look at that 3-wheel piece of crap car and say, what the hell is this? It's the Urkel-mobile. Are you going to buy the Urkel-mobile? Or are you going to buy the Rolls Royce? And quality. That's what I mean. That's what we're looking at right now. To compare Bitcoin to gold as a store of value, that's telling me you have no fucking idea economics for one. And the government is telling you, we know you're fucking stupid. It doesn't even make any sense. But in this case, fuck gold. In this one particular case, the best store of value, in my opinion, best bang for the buck, and you can get the gold later, hear me out for just 2 minutes, buy you some physical silver. Because when the gold-silver ratio is not at 100 plus, and let's just say it goes to 50, you buy 100 out here. Let me show you. You buy, instead of buying 1 ounce of gold, you buy 101. Buy 100 ounces of silver. When it gets to 50 in one, do me a favor. Take 55 or 56 of them because you're going to have to, it's going to be a little more expensive only because you're not going to get that spot back, the over spot. But in this case, let's just say the pawn shop is going to overdo something. So take 55 of them. Take them to the pawn shop and get an ounce of gold, right? When it goes to 50 to 1. Keep the other 45 ounces of silver for free. You have to have great wherewithal, and you have to understand on the chart. Remember my 80 to 1 or better, I only buy silver? Under 30 to 1, I flip it back to gold. Over 80 to 1, I buy silver. Under 30 to 1, I buy gold. Because my philosophy is I've been buying it between 80 and 115 my whole life. The gold silver ratio when I buy silver. The next time it goes to 30, I'm going to take some of these 850 ounces of silver. And I'm going to buy these nice light gold bars. Or I'm going to trade them. So the biggest deal on the planet right now is silver at 32. It's not even close. And people are like, what if it goes down? Who gives a fuck? Buy more. It's silver. I'm literally telling you guys how to get free gold. I did this in my silver stacking videos. Oh, I bought a bunch of Scottsdale Mint. Oh, I love them. They're silver. I bought some of their 100-ounce bars too. I got 100 ounces. I bought them all the way down. And theirs I like because you should go back and watch my silver stacking videos on YouTube. I'm telling you, it's such a undervalued section of what I've done in my time on YouTube. But I have a silver stacking section. And it's fucking phenomenal. I don't even know where it's at anymore. It's phenomenal. Silver stacking series. I literally talk about Scottsdale Mint on there as well. Because it shows you how to buy gold and silver by using Scottsdale Mint. In your crypto, when we had profits in 23. I was showing how I was using all my profits. I made a crazy leverage trade back then. And it made me like $1,500 when we did it on a live one day. And the next day, by the time I sold it, I had a great, or 2 days. And I literally took all of that and bought precious metals. And every time I had profit, I'd go on there. And sometimes it'd be a few thousand. Sometimes it'd be a few hundred. And I'd buy silver. Sometimes gold just to show, but I would always show me buying silver with crypto. On Scottsdale Mint. I've shown it on Jambolian as well. But that's why I take I take crypto profits if it's the end of a cycle, and then I put it into precious metals. I showed everybody before. Like if you had 20, let's just say you put $5,000 in crypto, and in 21 it turned into 15, and you sold it out. Now you're like, I made $5,000 and turned it into 15, so I made 10. So, and obviously you're paying taxes, but in this regard, you're going to pay taxes. But now you're like, I'm going to use 10,000 this time. Well, I pay, it cost me a little bit in taxes, so I got about $3,000 left over. But forget the taxes. You can do taxes on your own. I'm just doing this for a reason for this. So let's just say you turn into 15. So now 5,000 goes into gold or silver. Let's just say gold this time. Silver. 5,000 goes into silver because of the ratio. And then 10,000 are going to crypto this time. Well, you made 3 to 1 on your money. So just assuming you do the same, but you don't have to assume that because now we know what we did to the next cycle. But let's just assume this time you got it right again, and this time you made 4x your money. So now you have $40,000. And this time you're like, you know what? I turned 5 into 15. Then I bought $5,000 in silver, kept 10,000 for trading when it got to the right spot. This time I turned 10 into 40. Well, I have fucking $30,000 in profit. This time I'm going to take 15,000. I'm putting it into silver. That ratio is over 100. And you know what? I'm going to take 25 this time. And I'm going to put it in where I think is the right spot right now. Because I'm a gambler. Well, at least at this rate, you've got $20,000 in silver. Forget the appreciation because it's already appreciated over these couple of years typically. And now you go into the next cycle and you're like, all right, well, I've got $25,000 now in crypto and I've got $20,000 in silver on the same $5,000 I started with. You see how that starts to spiral? And yeah, it might take 2 or 3 years in between to get this next bump, but look at it that way. And as you go, if you do it the right way, then you can start to, I don't like to bring outside money into crypto anymore. I've made enough money to where I haven't deposited money on a crypto exchange in like 2 years. And I have enough funds floating around in my crypto exchanges to where I can do what I need to do if you understand what I'm saying. Like, I'm not looking to deposit it from the bank at this point in the game. So if it's from the bank and I get that itch and I'm like, ooh, I got some extra money. Well, I like the mining stocks at this point. They are so undervalued compared to the actual gold and silver prices. So that's just what I do. So then you start to build it on, and then people are like, well, what have you been able to do in crypto? Well, you guys seen me go, you know, from about 4 or 5,000 total in 21, built it up to 18, got kicked in the nuts with that over $1,000, and this was between my XRP, XLM, DGB, and whatnot. Got kicked in the dick each step of the way, so it almost cost me $2,000 in fees. And then you got the taxes you have to pay. But anyhow, and then in this cycle, you know, I put like $10,000 in silver and gold from those profits. And I think it was $8,000 total into the crypto market. And then I put an extra few thousand, but then got that back as well. But anyhow, it was like 8 or 10,000 by the end of it. And it turned into, well, you guys know the fucking story. We had some crazy gains on some, and it just, I still don't know how to explain some of them. You know, I don't know how to explain what happened with XRP healthcare, how quickly that happened. You know, I can explain XRP to an extent, but it happened a lot quicker than I thought, which is why I think we could have an extended correction. But at the same time, it may just go. And I'm okay with it. Just go if you want to, and I'll reap the rewards of that too, and then we'll have to make a decision if it just runs real quick. But yeah, oil is something we need to pay attention to because it is dropping, and it's causing the oil stocks to drop with it. So that's something we definitely need to discuss. And I haven't invested in oil in a number of years. Since 2022, does anybody remember our play on what the fuck was it called? It was a government-run oil company, but their dividend they were paying was out the ass. And I couldn't believe it. I called my brother, old Vincenzo. I don't remember if he got on board or not, but I invested in this company more than I should have, especially for the time what I had. I put like my free capital in there in the bear market. And it was Petrobros. And they had a dividend payment. And this company, I would tell the audience, it always goes between $9 and $18, like on cue. And their dividend, all of a sudden, now they don't pay any dividend. To put it in perspective, it's none. Zero. Kazilch. They were paying a dividend back in 22 of like 28 to 40%. And on one particular payout, it was unbelievable. On one particular one, I had like $6,000 in there, and they paid like, it was like $1.40 a share. And it was like $9 or $10 a share. It was fucking believable. But yeah, that's just some things you come across sometimes. Yeah, I don't live in Canada, so I don't know how that works. Oh, I think oil stocks are going to boom soon as well. But I mean, this is for the crypto side of it. We're done. It's already been over an hour. Thank you all so much for tuning in. If you want to support my work, you can always you can send a YouTube super chat. You can join Tom's Army, which I would be very grateful. I'd love to see new members of Tom's Army. We're kind of slipping away with a few members of Tom's Army, but I expect it. I honestly do. I really do. What the fuck is that update I had on there with that? I don't even remember that background, and we don't do it. What is that? Even I don't know my content from 3 years ago. That's pretty cool. I have no idea what that content is. No, I'm not done yet, guys. I said the crypto side of it. Now we get to get into the fun side as well, the precious metals and oils. But if you want to show support, you can do Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. You can join Tom's Army. Here's a few links that you can use to join the crypto exchanges I've talked about. LBank's on there, crypto.com for DGB as well. And then if you want the crypto debit card, I like crypto.com, but their fees are high. Just remember that. Telegram, if you want to join and do our discussion after, and also be able to see a section where you can see my content without being notified by YouTube. Here, I'll just show you. So that a lot of people don't get notified. It is what it is. When you're a true teller, I mean, they're not going to push your content all that great. So you can just join Tom's Army, and then there's a section of content links and all this other cool stuff. General chat where we've got almost 269 total people in here. Now that is insane. Tons of people always talking. Like so much stuff always going on. So fun. Nick, you'll see him here a lot in comments. In the chat, you know, a lot of people ask him about charts, and he's starting to share his fair value gap stuff and things that we do run a lot of similar stuff, but we don't always come to the exact same outcomes. But having his confirmation, even if it's slightly different than my own, even if it's in a slightly different way, it still validates a lot of what I see. There's only so many people you can bounce ideas off of at the end of the day. But yeah, there's a cool environment there. And then I gotta wrap this up because my son's got school tomorrow. But I just wanted to look at something real quick. What's gold? Gold's up $5. I think it's time to put the oil chart back up here, guys. I do, because I've had that tug, and I've talked about crude oil here. Some of these last few, man, it's down to 56. There is no way. The futures oil is up at, is that right? Is that for real? I got to make sure that that's on par. I'm just kidding. I'm asking for anybody who watches oil, because that's the commodity. Does that look right? No, just stock. But this is the futures. Oh, I'd rather look at the futures. Wow. $56. And gas is still as expensive as it is. That is fucking nuts. That is nuts. Oh, fuck me. They really got us by the old scrollies. And it never stops. I used to call them the Scorseses. I thought it was funny. Or the Grotesques, but the Scorseses for comedic value was always funny. So let's see. What can I get rid of here? I don't want to get rid of my stocks I hold because I want to watch them, obviously. I already had to get rid of my emerging markets one on here, my Vanguard ones, because it was taking up too much space. What could I kick out of here and put on a different page? I think HBAR would go on a different page if I had to do this. Yeah, I think HBAR should go on the other page if I'm... Because XDC's got to stay over here. The rest of these... I've already taken Doge off here because it's worthless. I mean, it's not worthless, but just for what I'm doing. Julie holds 10,000 of them as I've told the story. Yeah, just for conversational purposes today, I'll put HBAR on the other page. It'll kind of give it its own light because then it'll be in less company. Oil. That is nuts that it's that cheap. The futures is going to open up at $56 a barrel. That's nuts. I'm going to have to look this to get validation. I haven't seen anybody say it. Because I need to see what the actual WTI crude is priced at before the futures. Because I didn't go onto the stock exchange. Or I don't have the patience to look on here because you have to go through 100 different ones. So DXY, we'll do the US 10-year. We'll do oil on top of the gold-silver ratio just because it'll allow us to remain focused. If I put it in between, it's going to be too hard, I think. Yeah, I think that's right. Gold-silver ratio I like on top of gold and silver because then it doesn't confuse it. I like to put Barrett Gold and B2 Gold, so for the audience purposes, you know my gold companies I own. And then under silver, I like to have Pan America Silver, First Majestic, and Fortuna, so you know what silver companies I own for the miners. So that's all you have to understand. Like, if you're asking what kind of mining companies I own, just look under where it shows gold and silver, and it'll show you the mining companies. I own 5 mining stocks right now. I kind of created my own ETF, if you want to know the truth. And I'm just weighting it the way I feel appropriate. But yeah. So we'll watch oil. Man, I haven't looked at oil stocks in a while. Just out of curiosity, anybody out here right now, are any of you into oil stocks? Like, are there any that I should be keeping my eye on? Man, I don't even know any oil mining or any, like Marathon used to be a good one, like with dividends. I used to watch. There's a few of them. Yeah, but in order for that to happen, remember, if we're going to get a quick flip, we need something huge to happen, which would mean we would have to have a big drop in order for them to have, just for them to be able to, you know, what's the right word so that I can make this sound better, so that I can like kind of illuminate what you need to know. They need some kind of way to sign off on such a drastic move. So we need something to happen in a very big way so that the tariffs can actually play out, like pan out now. So if they want to get rid of the tariffs, we're going to have these markets drop and put a kind of like the fear into people where they're like, oh my God. And then it would make it look like something's got to happen, though. It's just something's got to make it happen. You know, nothing's going to change unless something makes it. So in this sense, you know, they could make it, you know, hey, we got to make sure the markets don't fall too much. I wonder what the oil mining looks like. I got to go do a deep search. Because I haven't looked in a while, but I used to be so good at these exploration. Oh, that's it. The exploration. And under Trump last time, the oil exploration companies did, not in the beginning, they did awful in the first 2 years, or first 1 or 2 years, but after, they did pretty damn good. We'll have to I'm going to have to do some research. Because I know we could do like the iShares and things, but I don't know if I want to go. I'm thinking like an independent company. Like, where's Marathon at right now? They offered a decent dividend back in the day. There's a few of them. No, not that. What the fuck? Or was it Murphy's? I can never remember. This is them. 141. Yeah, it was definitely Murphy's. That's hella high. What the fuck? Yeah, there we go. See? This is Murphy's. I remember watching them when it was... See? It hasn't even done much. It's come down below those levels now. What's their dividend these days? They used to pay anywhere between a 4 and 5%. Unless things got really bad, then they would up it. $5.97. See, that's pretty good. 5.97. That's amongst the highest you're going to see it. Damn. Holy crap. They're almost paying you to hold your money there, knowing that it's undervalued. Oxon. Seen somebody mention it. I'm just curious. 3.73. Dude, Murphy is cheap. I'm going to have to watch that. That is what I'm going to watch again. That is one I was always fascinated with. It just, you can see in the pattern that it needed to correct here, but Lord have mercy if this actually plays out and this is back testing. I mean, it's basically coming down about as far as it can come. No, I take that back. You could find yourself at 14 bucks. Ooh, Shell's a good one too. I forgot about Shell. I was trying to think of the other ones, but Shell is actually a good one. What's going on, Julie? Okay, I'm about done, okay? How are you doing? Did you enjoy the show today? Are you just saying that to make the audience happy?
No.
You actually did?
Always do.
Julie said she always enjoys the show. Ooh, I love you too. Well, Julie, according to what came up, 666, are you lying to us? No. I'm kidding.
That's a terrible number.
It is. So the dividend's 4.17% for Shell, but it's $66.64. So, oh, Exxon was still on last year? What? Oh, well, that's good to know. Hmm. Oh, it looks like it chose this year for Exxon. Quarterly dividend 99. 3.73%. I mean, it's not terrible. It's not terrible. But yeah, I'm going to have to go. I want to go because Julie's doing the feeding. So I want to go in there. But it's been a pleasure. I mean, we've been doing this for an hour and 15 minutes. Kind of cool. I like it. So, I mean, if you want to look at it in one of two ways. One, you got, right, resistance 1, resistance 2, resistance 3. You've got to come across that resistance to start railing in any real way. And then you look at it this way. I think it's pretty well, maybe not self-explanatory, but I think when you start looking at this and you start to actually break it down, you're like, you know what? I see what's going on here. 1, 2, 3. Just like that. You could even do this if you wanted to get spicy, but I'm not spicy. I'd rather... So it almost looks like that. You know, and then you could be like, well, Tom, what if it didn't do that and it did this? Well, if it did this and not that, you could say it's in a channel, but why say that? Because you could start from... Watch. And then I'm going to go. But I think Oxon, we're watching this, baby. We're going to watch this. This is going to be... I'm going to look at a few other oil companies. I'm going to tell you what my best play is when it gets down to the right time. But 5.98% dividend is nothing to scoff at, or scout, whatever you want to call it. Nothing to ignore. Especially when it's undervalued. So, resistance 1, resistance 2, resistance 3. Support 1, support 2, support 3. So, we confirm this pattern. So now it's a matter of where's the best bargain. So you're going to want to buy it on the support structure every time, which means wait a minute. How far down is this? Oh, that was already down at $5. Okay, so maybe I'm going to have to be bashful. And out of the sake, I didn't realize I was that far down on the pattern. Oh, I'm in the monthly. That's why. Out of the sake of this argument pattern, for the pattern's sake, so it has room, we're going to say that was an overzealous run out. We're going to look at it like that. How about that? So we're going to see if $12.77 holds. Otherwise, if we fall through there, I mean, we're resetting the entire freaking pattern in its entirety. But I got to go. Thank you all so much for the time. It means a lot to me. Have a blessed evening. Oh my God, I was slipping away. But I'll see you all tomorrow. It's going to be a pleasure. Oh my God, I'm small. Oh no, you sons of bitches. You made me small again. Have a blessed evening. No, Tom, don't make me go. That's the first time I've been out in years.